Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there. I forgot my I forgot my own show name. That's freaking awesome. For everybody out there, we're doing the Good News Weekly. This is number 5 or 1705, as I am affectionately naming them. I gotta say, I'm going out with the song I wanted to come in with, but I just wasn't courageous enough, or somehow my higher self led me to believe it was a better idea not to. But it's gonna be funny. Totally ties into a story, but it's definitely funny. All right, so we got the Good News Weekly going on. We've got some great shows. Or stories, I guess. Let's hop right to it. Look at this misfit group. They're not really like that. At the time, and actually, by the way, this story was big to me because I almost went to school in this town. So I was just like, oh, that's really cool. Anyway, at the time, her personal life was riddled with pain for years. Sizaveth had bounced back and forth between her mother, who was addicted to opiates, and her emotionally distant father. Just 2 years earlier, she had been sexually assaulted by a stranger. All of these experiences left her feeling emotionally and physically neglected. In the 8th grade, she started hanging out with kids in gangs and skipping class to smoke marijuana. That kind of behavior followed her to high school, where she could have faltered. But Sizaveth's experience at Lincoln was different. Sporletter and the staff created an environment built on empathy and redemption through a framework called trauma-informed care. It acknowledges the presence of childhood trauma in addressing the behavioral issues. The practices vary depending on the environment, but they begin with the understanding that childhood trauma can cause adulthood struggles such as lack of focus, alcoholism, drug abuse, depression, and suicide. Lincoln Alternative High School is in a small city of Walla Walla in southeastern Washington state. It had been a place for students with disciplinary issues, those removed from the area's other high schools, ordered there by a judge, or those who have performed poorly in middle school. Tucked in the middle of the residential neighborhood, Lincoln's brick edifice and cherry red doors now serve as a place of opportunity for many students. At Lincoln, the first trauma-informed high school in the U.S., the graduation rate increased from about 30%, and suspensions had dropped almost 85% a year after implementing this new framework. The school's success, along with the efforts of relentless community leaders, convinced service providers through the city to adopt a trauma-informed care in their own fields. Well, here's a guy that is probably doing something good for the world, right? This Canadian has dedicated his life to cleaning up hateful and racist graffiti everywhere it pops up in his city. And now, erasing hate has become a movement. Corey Fleischer first experienced the joy of combating these awful drawings 2 years ago when he drove past a van that had KKK and swastikas painted on the side. After talking with the owner of the vehicle, Corey got to work cleaning up the vandalism. When he was finished, he says he felt a sense of euphoria. And ever since that fateful day, Corey has power-washed thousands of hateful messages across his beloved Montreal. He soon plans on expanding his efforts to Toronto as well. His Instagram page, Erasing Hate, has hundreds of followers encouraging him on his mission. If they find any hateful graffiti in Corey's area, they will send him a picture, an address, and then within 24 hours, it's all gone. It went from just me alone, scouring the city, trying to find these hate crimes, to now I have tens of thousands of people who are following the Erasing Hate movement, Fleischer said. And now, they're my eyes. Aw, little babies. This 24-year-old farmer might be the new MacGyver after he rescued 2 kittens from rising floodwaters with just a broom handle and a baby wipes container, huh? Duncan Bridges and his stepdaughter had just entered their Shetfield, New Brunswick farmhouse on Thursday morning when they heard a faint mew coming from inside the walls. Bridges leapt into action like a superhero, prying off 2 boards from the wall with his bare hands and shining a flashlight on the wall's interior. Sure enough, there were 2 small kittens stuck in on the ground between the walls. And not only that, the space was already beginning to fill with water, and it was 4 to 5 inches deep already. The farmer quickly created a makeshift scoop out of a half-gallon water jug, attached it to a string, but it proved unsuccessful. And then the brilliance struck the man. He stuck a broom handle into a plastic baby wipes box and scooped the kittens out of the water. That man deserves a prize. All right. Whoops. I guess I should probably keep the page over here. This is a wonderful little dog named Momo. And by the way, a cool little mixture of breed, by the way. But anyways, this wonderful dog has been showered with praise as she comes to the rescue of some of her friends being chased by a bear last Sunday. Kenzie Campbell was taking her Shepherd Husky Lab mix for a walk through Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada, with his girlfriend and another friend when they rounded a corner of the Cascade Amphitheater Trail and found a bear 15 feet away. The group of companions tried to back away without provoking the bear, but with no luck. The massive mammal gave chase, pursuing them down the trail. Momo leapt into action, barking and growling at the bear to distract her as the humans ran away. As it turned out, her courageous efforts succeeded, and Kenzie and his friends called 911 to tell park rangers about the danger. They eventually made it back to the trail's parking lot and took cover in the park's Canada Emergency Staff truck. And yes, the dog got away from the bear and survived. Everyone lived happily ever after. What a great mix of dog, though, right? All right, if it wasn't for this bus driver's quick thinking, there may have been disastrous tragedy inside this flaming school bus. Teresa Strobel was dropping off 56 kids at their respected bus stops on Tuesday when two children in the back said they were smoke coming from inside the vehicle. Strobel pulled the bus over and evacuated every last child on the bus, leading them to safety just seconds before the vehicle went up in flames. The South Carolina School District Superintendent Scott Turner recognized Strobel in a Twitter post shortly after the event, saying, "Hero! Ms. Therese Strobel evacuated 58 students in under a minute. God bless her. So grateful for her quick action." Yes. Professor Catherine Svanborg, I'm assuming is how you say that, an immunologist at Lund University, says human breast milk contains a protein called alpha-lactalbumin, which is transformed into a cancer-fighting agent when it gets into the gut. Trials in patients with bladder cancer have already yielded promising results, and researchers believe the compound breast milk contains, nicknamed Hamlet, will also help tackle bowel cancer and cervical cancer. Svanborg accidentally made the discovery while working on antibiotics. We were looking for novel antimicrobial agents, and new breast milk is a very good source of these. During one experiment, we needed a human cells and bacteria to be present, and we chose human tumor cells for practical reasons. To our amazement, when we added this compound of milk, the tumor cells died. It was a totally serendipitous discovery. A full-scale trial pitting Hamlet against a placebo dummy drug is now being planned. Everyone knows the common saying, waste not, want not, but this couple has taken it to a whole other level. Nicola and Richard of Devon, England, became tired of taking heaps upon heaps of their recycling into the city center. They were frustrated by the journeys back and forth and surprised at how much waste the two of them made. They then came up with an idea, and sure enough, they had seen an article of a zero-waste shop in Berlin and thought, what a great idea, Nicola said. This combined with our ever-growing heap of recycling at our apartment made us want a different way to shop, and there wasn't one, so we created one. Nicola and Richard opened the first zero-waste shop in the United Kingdom, and it has been wildly successful. All foods, even liquids and nut butters, come loose and get put directly into customers' own reusable containers, said Nicola. We reuse, reduce, or recycle as much of the packaging that we get as possible. We donate the large paper sacks to customers to use as mulching on their allotment, and we reuse the plastic drums with each new order of our cleaning products company. The store is just as conscious about food waste as well. Since the food isn't prepackaged, customers are also able to buy as much of a product as they need without having to worry about buying too much and using it all before it goes bad. Plus, everything is sold is organic. The cleaning products are non-toxic, and the soap is locally handmade. Eileen Taylor went to pay for her drinks, and the cashier told the woman in front of her already had paid for her. She thought about this kind gesture during the day and eventually came back to pay for a random stranger's meal herself. Eileen had recently lost her job and money was tight, but she thought it was the right thing to do because it made her feel good when someone did it for her. What she didn't realize is that the 55 customers later, the pay it forward was going on still because of her. The only reason the chain ended was because there was nobody else left in line. Good reason to start that, huh? Stop that, I should say. Well, let's try that one. This week, and this is actually very cool, we're talking about fungus in two ways. One that can survive exclusively on polyurethane or plastic, and another that can replace styrofoam. Both polyurethane and styrofoam are not biodegradable. So without a solution, all the plastic bottles and old toys we throw out every year will be sitting in landfills for centuries. Yes, you can recycle plastics, but that just means turning it into another product, and recycling hasn't sufficiently slowed the production of new plastic. According to a Yale study, globally we produced 245 million tons of plastic in 2006, compared to only 1.5 million tons in 1950. One other little caveat I want to throw on that. The population on the planet in 1950 was 2.6 billion. The population of the planet in 2006 was 6.6 billion. Well over doubled what the population was. But still, that being said, 240 million tons of plastic in 2006 compared to only 1.5 million in 1950. Certainly with the population brought into play, that doesn't change that too much as far as how significant that is. One of the fungi we're looking at is called a Pestaloteuopsis microspora. Yeah, that's easy to say. It was discovered by a group of Yale researchers on an expedition in Ecuador and can subsist on polyurethane alone in an airless environment, such as like at the bottom of a landfill. The other comes from a couple of college friends who discovered that the sticky substance on the bottom of mushrooms called mycelium could be turned into a glue, and when that glue is combined with corn husks and other food products, it takes on a form similar to styrofoam. Their company, Ecovative, there we go, wants to use styrofoam to become mulch, not waste. A future with less plastic and more mulch. All thanks to fungus. That's fantastic. Or fungi. I guess that's the singular. Anyway, let's not get crazy. A Dutch foundation aiming to rid the world's oceans of plastic waste says it will start cleaning up the huge area known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch within the next 12 months, 2 years earlier than planned. The ocean cleanup aims to use long-distance floating booms that act like coastlines to gather plastic as it drifts on or near the surface of the water while allowing sea life to pass underneath. The plan originally was to anchor the barriers to the seabed with a system used by oil rigs, but the organization said Thursday it will now use anchors that float beneath the water's surface, making it more efficient. Well, I hope everybody has enjoyed this week's Good News Weekly, volume 1705, I guess. Yes. So the song I'm going to be going out with, and I don't think I actually mentioned the name of the song I went in with. That was Alice Cooper's School's Out. And I'm going to be going out with the song by Kellis. I hope I'm saying that right. And the song's name is Milkshake.
Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I could teach you, but I have to charge. You're on it. You want me to teach thee techniques that freaks these boys. It can't be bought. Just know these get caught. Watch if you're smart.